in demand. The second question comes to the mind is, but I sell this product in India at, let's say, 300 rupees. Will somebody buy at, let's say, 800 rupees or so, right? Because shipping cost is too high and all those stuff, right? And sometimes, the founders try to fit the brands, saying if I'm selling in India at 350 rupees, I want to sell in US also 350 rupees, but logistics will not make a economic viable, and they don't even try out, right? And to that, my question is, if that was the case, then why iPhone, which is the world's largest single brand, is selling at different price point across the global market? So don't think that you want to standardize your pricing across the region. It will never happen, right? And to start with, I just want to give an example, right? So here is one of the categories which Google Local launched, MyFitness. In India, the same peanut butter is selling at $499. And if I'm to show, we are successfully sort of, have built a case study of MyFitness selling at around $41, which is 6x of the Indian price. Moving to the another category is a health and beauty, a roller, which is selling in India at 245 rupees. We have been successfully selling this at around $12, again, a 4x of what's the price, compared to India market. Third category is, again, the health and, sort of, let's say, category, something which is selling at around 700 rupees, or we are selling successfully at around $25. And then to give another example of personal care, the same product is selling at around close to around 1,339 rupees, and we have been successfully selling at $39. And when I'm saying successfully selling, means these products, all the products which I'm showcasing, are really high in demand, and the feedbacks and the ratings and the reviews have been amazingly widely accepted by the global audience, right? So that is where I just want to start with a case study, saying here is the opportunity, and this is how you should sort of think when you are launching a brand in a global market. Just to give a perspective point of view, the e-commerce opportunity across sort of the top countries, remains at close to around 5 trillion, growing more than 25% year on year. US is one of the largest market, because US is the largest consumer market, followed by UK and sort of Germany. China, from a consumption itself, it's a bigger market, right? But to an extent, everybody's mindset is China is sort of, let's say, export, but from an import point of view, also it's one of the largest market as a contribution, right? So now when these regions, how do you sort of, let's say, start with it? And we always recommend start where the buyers are there, and the buyers are there in the marketplaces, and specifically in the global, where you are operating from India and you want to sell into globally. You can have your own website and start marketing it, but it's going to be a costly affair initially. So therefore, start your product, do a test trial in the marketplaces where there's a huge consumer base and there's a huge transactions. And from a global marketplaces, Amazon contributes to close to around 20% of the 5 trillion opportunity compared to other marketplaces. And then there are JD and eBay and Shopee across regions. These are the marketplaces who have this kind of shares, right? And when we looked at from a category perspective, electronics continues to be dominant category, but what, fashion, toys, food, health and beauty, furniture, these are some of the top categories, growing more than around 20% year on year. And on the right hand side, you see this is the sort of contributions from this particular category on those marketplaces. I mean, furniture contributes 6%, so as fashion contributes 21%, toys, home hobbies, do it yourself contributes to around 20% also. Moving to the next one, and this is the topic of today's sort of webinar. Do I list my product globally and see what happens, or do I launch my product globally and what happens? Now, the difference between two is definitely not the marketing, right? The difference between the two is understanding the market, understanding the geography, understanding the category, understanding the consumer pattern, understanding what are the similar SKUs which are selling in those market, what is those price points, right? And where is the value additions? You may launch a product and you can spend, let's say, 100x of marketing money, and you may generate a sale, but there will be never point of return, because you will never make money on those one, right? And therefore, when we say launch, it has to be launched with a proper strategy. And those are some of the best practices which I will sort of showcase in the next few slides, that how do you sort of approach a market? How do you approach a US market? How do you approach a European market? How do you approach a Southeast Asia market? How do you approach, sort of, let's say, the UAE market? So moving to the next one is, so let's say when you launch, the first thing you have to figure out is the discovery. Who is your target audience? Who is the target market, right? Whether it's a, Middle East, USA, US, UK, which are those, top markets for you, right? Where your products are lots of high in demand. Now, India, for example, India exports more than $45 billion jewelry, and US is the largest market. So here is a starting point saying, okay, India exports so and so category into certain regions, and these are the dominant one. Moving to the next one is the, 1 second. I think so. Opportunity. Then the SKU mapping. When you understand that jewelry is the largest, or toys the largest, or let's say health and beauty is the largest, then you map your category. I give an example of, let's say, roll-on in US. What is the opportunity size of roll-on on e-commerce's marketplace? What's the opportunity size of roll-on on Amazon or Walmart? How much roll-on is sold on, right? And then within that, how much roll-on is sold is how many sellers are selling it, so that you know how many sellers I'm competing against. Whether it's going to be, let's say, $800 million business sold by 100 sellers. Now you know that average each guy is making sort of, let's say, 800K to 8 million, right? Versus $800 million business sold by only 40 sellers, right? So now your opportunities to sell those item is going to be higher because you are just competing against the 39 sellers across. So whether it's a red blood bath ocean or it's a blue ocean, that's something which is important. Then you do sort of, let's say, the complete competition mapping, saying, okay, if there are 40 sellers who are going to sell that product, what's the mean average, medium average, and mode average of this item? Is that let's say a 250 or a 200 grams roll-on is sold at $12, and that's the lowest, and what is the highest? Is that 200 grams roll-on is going to sell it probably $16. So now between $12 and $16 there is an opportunity. Now compared to that, how much roll-on pricing and how much sort of you have the margin and cost structure. So again, you map that and you come to the sort of, let's say, near to the estimate to this one. And then at the end of the day, then you calculate everything, saying, if I do a India ship, which is a drop ship from India, what's going to be my cost? And if I do that as a bulk and store in a local marketplaces, warehouses, or 3PL warehouses, what's the opportunity and what's the cost? And at what point I start stocking locally, and at what point sort of, let's say, I do a sort of, let's say, larger volume. Now this is where it's going to be trickier, right? Generally we advise things, start the dropship from India. Don't do unless until you're not very confident, until all the let's say metrics does not go in favorable of your brand. Start a dropship from India and look at the categories, right? You have to divide the categories into 3 buckets. Are these categories are subscription based? That means people want to subscribe a food, a grocery, right? Or are these categories are sort of impulse based, that people buy impulse and then they want tomorrow or next day, right? If it's not a subscription based category, if it's not a need based category, like home need, they want to buy today because it wants to get delivered tomorrow, or a impulse where people will just buy impulsively. If you don't catch their impulse, you lose a buyer. Rest all category does not matter. Buyer can wait today with sort of a lot of express couriers and let's say logistics network. Everybody can deliver in US within 9 working days. So it's okay. I mean, buyer can wait for 9 days, because it's not an impulse, neither subscription based, neither sort of, let's say, a need based category. And that's how you start a test trial, saying, let me try from India how much I'm able to sell that, and then sort of, let's say, do the math around it, saying, if this out of my 10 SKU, only 2 SKUs are selling from India in a dropship model, if I stock locally, do I get the price advantage? Do I get the cost advantage? And then you sort of design your strategy around it, right? Compliance, again, most important part where a lot of issues happens. People don't understand the compliance part of it. When you drop ship from India, it is a very different compliance. When you drop ship from India, you ship through CSB 5 form. Each form sort of up to 10 lakhs rupees worth a single invoice it's been permitted and it can go as a, India clearance. All the item which goes from outside India, every country has a de minimis value. So US value is $800. If your item is below $800, there's no custom duty to it, right? So the buyer does not needs to pay any import duty. Neither pay any custom clearance charges in India up to 10 lakhs rupees, and that's called CSB 5, Courier Shipping Bill 5. All the private carriers, they sort of offer this, and they sort of clear under this CSB 5. It is a different compliance requirement. When you stock a product locally in any other marketplaces, warehouses or so, it's a different compliance, and you need to understand, what documentation, what certification, what product testing you require when you stock locally out there, or sort of, let's say, ship from India, right? And then promotions, marketing that follows. How do you promote it? What are the keywords you put it across? How do you sort of put the content? Is the content A+ content? Is your brand purpose? Are you defining the purpose? Why buyer should buy, and what are the benefits if somebody buys? How much value you're adding, to the overall supply cycle? All these are very, very minute points. Maybe a lot of you might be aware, but this adds up to the overall strategy around it. And let me give you, one of the sort of a case study. We had this, a brand where we understood what is the brand sort of, let's say, opportunity. We did this entire competitive landscape study of the brand. We looked at US market. We found out what's the opportunity of this brand. It was a 800 million sort of, let's say, opportunity. And we looked at competition data. We looked at content. We looked at, let's say, ingredients. And we were able to find out, okay, this brand stands out strong. And that's how we sort of launched it, right? And just to give an example, let's say if it is a face cream. So when we looked at face cream, at the top level, we mapped saying what is the content and weight of that face cream, what does the packaging material look like, what's the mean median value of that face cream, what is the competition benchmarking, how much is the expiry shelf life, is there any claim on that, or there are benefits of it? Because in US, you cannot, if you're selling in US, any health and beauty or any other product, you cannot put a claim. You can, it's non-compliant. But if you show a benefit, it's compliant. So there's a difference between claim and benefits, right? And then therefore, what is the ingredients in that face cream, which people sort of, let's say, are giving more positive reviews to it. And just to give an example, when we map the ingredients in this parameter, this is a face cream, when we looked at US, and we looked at, various parameters, the red ones and the blue one, which is, larger on the graph. These are the attributes where people are comfortable buying, and they are rating a very, very positive, leaving a very, very positive sort of, let's say, review about the brand, right? A glycolic acid or a salicylic acid, what are those components of it, right? And how does, compared to Indian brands who are selling with those ingredients, how does the international brands who are selling with those ingredients, what are the delta difference between that? And can this Indian brands can be positioned equivalent to the US brand, because maybe 99% of the ingredients are similar or better, right? But the price point India is cheaper, right? And that's how we said, okay, if we launch this brand with a cheaper price point, probably the buyer's mindset will be this is a cheap product, because the brand which was selling this face cream at $49, right? It has a similar ingredients. And if we sell this Indian brands at $20, it will look like a cheaper version of the brand. Hence, therefore, we launched this brand at $47, $2 lesser than the US brand. And you know what? We were able to sell more than 500 units, the day we launched, this particular, face cream. Because we were rationally, we looked at data, we looked at various parameters, we looked at various ingredients, and it went into the, similar sort of, let's say, advantage of the content and the pricing as well. So that's the, a detailed strategy you need to apply. That's a detail. That's a view you need to, give you. And when you looked at from a competition, opportunity, price point, compliances, costing, per unit economics, that's how you comprehensively put a global, selling strategy in for your particular brands. And that's what we do at Go Global. So this is a very, very crisp and short presentation, which we want to sort of, share it with you guys. We are happy to sort of, let's say, have a much more deeper discussion in case you are looking to launch a brand globally. Our startup is just a year-old startup. Within 6 months, we've now worked with more than 200 brands. We have launched more than 200 brands across 5 regions: US, Europe. We have built this expertise, around it, and we are happy to sort of, let's say, partner with you. And the way we say, we are not a partner, but we are extended team, right? Because our model is very simple. We maximize your profit, and we will help you launch globally. And therefore, we sort of tell ourselves as a global selling expert and an extended member of any brands who works with us to launch them in the global markets. So here is some of the contact details in case if you're interested, in helping in taking your brands globally. Please do drop a, let's say, WhatsApp message or an email, or you can scan the QR code. Happy to sort of, let's say, get in touch with you, understand your brand opportunity, give you the strategy, specifically, to this D2C insider, brands community. We'll be happy to sort of provide a detailed strategy who sort of works with us. And the decisions lies with you, whether then you want to take your brands globally or not. So that's it from our end. I'm happy to sort of, let's say, answer any questions you may have.
Thank you so much, Naveen. That was a wonderful presentation, absolutely crisp, and happy to take some questions. So let me read out a couple of them, and
Sure.
you help us with the answers. So the first one is, considering the global war-like issues, is it advisable to start selling global?
I mean, absolutely, why not? I mean, the consumer will buy, right? And you are going to ship from India. All you will need to understand is whether any carrier is restricting or prohibiting to deliver in that market or not, right? And even in that case, the Geneva Postal Law, any postal department, whether, and in this case India Post, whether it's a war or not, they operate and they sort of deliver in those region as well. So why not?
Awesome. Okay, so the next one, categories like food or cosmetics, which you showed, like MyFitness or Chemist at Play, they must be needing FDA approvals, right? Does Go Global handle the product registrations
Yes.
too? How do you suggest we approach the registrations process?
Yeah. As I explained, compliance, you need to look at from two different lenses. When you do a test trial and dropship from India, it is a very different compliant and a bare minimum compliant, because you are delivering directly to the end buyer, right? It's like if I buy anything from a global website, whether I go to target.com or amazon.com and buy, the product is delivered to the end buyer, right? In that case, there's no local compliance or FDA, because you're shipping that item from India. You can ship through CSB5 up to 10 lakhs rupees. There's no custom, charges. Up to $800 in US, there's no import charges. That item will be delivered door to door to the buyer, and there is minimal compliant over there, right? There may be compliant for a carrier. Airline will not allow you more than 100 ml of perfumes or so. So those are the things will be there. When you stock that product locally in US, because you're stocking there for a reselling purpose, and largely this is a typical offline, let's say B2B flow, where the import on record is stocking locally and then reselling it, and therefore you need an import on record, somebody in US. At the same point of time, then you need an FDA license. Anybody who's importing needs to have a FDA license and a product testing also. So we work with brand, we give you them that insight. We have our partnerships, with labs and all those stuff, where we sort of help you to do the brand registrations and all those stuff. Go Global offers two model. You can be export record and you can do all the compliances. Otherwise, at Go Global, we offer a Go Global store, and we do the compliances for you to, sort of launch and kickstart. And then when you get the confidence, you can do all the registration. So initially, when we sell under Go Global store, it's a Go Global FDA, and we do the compliances, part on our end.
Got it. I hope that answers for you, Viraj. Next question we have, and I will also run a poll because it complements that. So, do we have a country-wise compliance document? Is there any country which have some tough compliance rules?
Yes, as a Go Global, we have a country wise, we have a product wise, we have category wise compliances, right? That is not something which we sort of, let's say, it's an open right now, but in next month or so, we will be able to sort of launch our full tech. It's a SaaS, Go Global is a global selling a tech platform. People can log in and sort of pay a SaaS fee and can understand, a detailed category compliances level, right? And if it needs to have a further lots of dialogue or so, we sort of engage with you and help you and
Hmm.
assist you there, right? To your question, is there any ready website where somebody can look at let's say compliances? I mean, you go to Federation Indian Export Organizations or India Trade Portal, you can find the HSN code. What are the HSN code? And against those HSN code, what is the compliances? But it's going to be too complex for anybody to understand. It's like, in India, we all are salaried people, but still to fill a Form 16, we take CS help. But it's so easier.
Hmm.
So compliance has to look from, very, very sort of detailed from a 5 different lenses. What is the primary information of the requirement? What is the secondary information? So primary information is saying what is the law says. The secondary information is says, okay, what is the alternative? Third is what is the legal view of it, right? If you see a lot of imported items has a sticker on it, right? And sometimes it's a new label itself. Now a sticker is also permitted and a new label is also permitted, right? But legal view, will always say it's better to do this than this. It doesn't mean you cannot do
Hmm.
this, right?
Yeah.
So there is a legal view. Fourth is a practical view. That same items, in a typical offline, India has been exporting 1 trillion worth of export from India. So, these categories, this product line, some of the larger exporters are using their network. So what are those networks, right? Because if they are compliant, even you as a D2C brand is compliant, right? One of the largest world meat exporter is exporting meat from India. And if you are, selling let's say pet food from India and you are
Hmm.
doing, a dry food of meat, you can also
Hmm.
comply. So that's the fourth angle, right? And last not the least is the so practical, let's say, solution around it. What's the cost of it, right? And at what stage you need to do fully compliant, at a scale. So you have to look at compliance from this, 5 different angles. We work with more than 200 brands. We have sort of, more than 100 SKUs. Now we have expertise in terms of, let's say, what are the compliance, bare minimum and maximum, if you're shipping
Hmm.
from India or if you're stocking locally. So those are the ready things available with us.
Wow. If I was a D2C brand founder, I would have definitely, used Go Local because there are so many unknowns around this, and you need somebody who has a lot of expertise and depth in doing it. So thanks for that. Taking up the next question, from Ankit Bera, he asks, how do we select the right e-commerce platform in a country? What specific parameters should we study?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great question and something which I showed in the slide, right? When you
Yeah.
look at, let's say, US or Europe, you figure out which are the marketplace and what is the share. I mean, in Amazon in US, would be easily in the range of 60 to 65% of market share. So they are the largest, right? But if you are selling in a niche category, let's say jewelry, maybe Amazon, the jewelry opportunity on Amazon is less than 1 billion. But then there are other, players or other niche marketplace which are more than double the size of Amazon, right? So you look at the category, then you map that category to a marketplace saying, okay, if it's jewelry, what is the jewelry size on Amazon and what is jewelry size on Walmart or what is jewelry size on eBay, right? So there, and
Hmm.
within that, then you figure out, okay, if it's a 1 billion on Amazon, 2 billion on eBay, 3 billion on other marketplace, how many sellers are selling there? So you understand how many people you're going to compete against it, right?
Hmm.
And then you further get saying, is this a fashion jewelry or fine jewelry, right? So that you understand which is the segment again, which you want to play around. And then
Hmm.
you select, those marketplaces, saying, okay, where you find an opportunity where there's a lesser competition and a higher volume, you are likely to make
Hmm.
more success in those markets as well.
Okay. Complementing to that question, so Ishita Saxena wants to know, can we launch with few SKUs and expand from there gradually?
Absolutely, that is the base
The
strategy,
right way to do it.
right way to do it, and there's a base strategy we arrive for every brand. We looked at various SKU and we understand the potential of those SKU, and then we recommend, okay, let's start those SKU as a dropship from India. Look at the movements around it, how much organically is selling, what's the sort of, let's say, buyer behavior or pattern, what is the velocity of those, selling price, price point and content, and then understand the pattern around it, and then decide, okay, if out of 20 SKU which I'm going to sell, these are my three hero SKU. Now this hero SKU, let me start with a 100 quantity and do a local marketplace dispatch, so that it can get a better sort of, let's say, movement and better tractions. And then sort of take it, scale it off, right? We have seen, and I've seen in my career, generally, people say, okay, no, this is a great in demand, and straight away they dispatch, let's say, around 1,000 quantities, and sometimes a lot of quantities have expiry dates and all those stuff. And then you looked at local storage charges and the fulfillment charges and the marketplace fees, and net when you look at, you are in losses. And then that's how the brand, sort of founder lose the faith. So don't do that. It's always great to start smaller. You are in a global, understand you are going to sell in a global markets. You're going to compete. Only on eBay, there's 100 million listings. Only on Amazon, there's 100 million plus listings. So you are competing against more than 100 million plus listings, right? Even you're going to spend, let's say, $100 a day on a marketing money, that's nothing, right? So spending marketing dollar is not the solutions, but designing a strategy around it, understanding the deeper level of, let's say, SKU, and then, putting this, small milestone, you will succeed beautifully in a global market.
Okay. Well answered. There's another question from Sanskriti Khanna. She wants to know, according to your experience, Naveen, which country is the best fit for women's lingerie and loungewear segment?
Yeah. So again, sort of, let's say, women lingerie and this segment is sort of, let's say, depends on which segment you cater to. US is the largest consumer market, for fashion. So there's no doubt around it, right? But US, lingerie sizes is very different compared to Southeast Asia.
Yeah.
Right. So now you have to figure out where your brand caters to which segment. Is it more of South, so Asian, or is it more of US audience? And both price points are very different.
Yeah.
Both designs are very different. Both trends are very different. So you have to now go deeper in terms of
that particular market. Yeah.
That particular market, and what is your, USP of making that particular, design. I have sort of met more than around 60 odd, people who are into this business during my eBay days, and some of them are operating from, Delhi and Bangalore, and those guys were very clear that I am building a lingerie brand only for South Asia market, and they were live only on South Asia market. They were not even looking at US market, right? So a US market would be, let's say, online market would be close to around 50 billion. A South Asia market will be around 15 billion. But 15 billion, they were able to generate, let's say, $10 million worth of sale, because they were very focused in that market, right? So you have to understand, when you are building a lingerie brand, which is a segment you are targeting, and basis on that, you should decide your marketplaces and the corridor.
Yeah, makes sense. I hope that answers for you, Sanskriti. Next up, we have from Pritesh Kumar. He wants to know if you can highlight on garment exports, any particular compliances required, so to say, there.
Garment is, again, is a very ambiguous sort of category. You have to be very specific whether you are, dealing in a menswear, women's wear, and within that, whether it's ethnic wear or Western wear.
The broad category, yeah.
Yeah, and within that, you have to figure out, what sort of, let's say, material you're going to use. Is it like a more of a, cotton, or is it bamboo, cotton, right? And when you go in that granular, that is where the compliance things comes across, because certain SKUs, let's say wool, or let's say pashmina shawls or something, then you need to classify that why you're saying this particular is more of not of a synthetic, but it's
okay. So Pritesh actually pinged back. Sorry to interrupt, Naveen. He said that, can you highlight on garments export? So he means kids wear, cotton sustainable fabric kids wear specifically.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's a big market, cotton, kids wear globally, specifically in the US. Now, before the compliance, I think so what you should look at, what's the trend and opportunity and the designs pattern across the US market, right? Indian kids, wear a very different clothing in India versus US, kids. They are more, and in latest in demand is more of those streetwear, fashions and all those stuff. So you understand those part of it. From a compliance point of view, it's a very minimal requirement, not a complex category. See, compliance you to divide into two parts. Is it on the body or it's inside the body? So inside the body is food and medicines and nutraceuticals. That will be always a complex compliance. And on the body, whether it's let's say a screen or a cloth or a watch, will be a different compliances.
Lesser compliance.
Right. So it's not going to be a very, very difficult. It's a huge market, right? And if you look at US kids, sections itself, and you go to any of the, let's say, a global website, I think so that's the greater opportunity for Indian fashion wear brand, because it's a very niche one. And if you can, let's say, design those kind of, let's say, trend patterns and colors and all those stuff, it's a $1 billion opportunity, kids wear.
Absolutely. I mean, the price point that they sell even in India is another level. US is, of course, then 3-4 times of what you in terms of price point that you can capitalize on.
More than that. And you will be surprised that some of the kids wear category in US, even if you go to Amazon, they are also selling on subscriptions.
Yeah.
Right? The US, 59% of the customer in US, are buying on subscriptions. So it's a 59%
subscription model.
So you can understand, and you can sort of play around with that.
Yeah, I think Dollar Shave Club had a lot to do with the overall subscription model that really came into being, and it's still very much relevant all across the globe. So yeah, thanks for that. I hope, Pritesh, that answers for you. I think this would be, I think, the last couple of questions that I have. So this one's from Viraji, wants to know that can you drop ship if you are selling on marketplaces like Amazon US, UK, or Walmart? Amazon US, UK, or Walmart, etc.
Yes, I mean, Amazon, Walmart both allows a dropship model from India. Walmart, sort of recommends that you should deliver the item within 7 working days. So if you use any private express carrier, you are well within that timeline, right? And that's what I said. We recommend certain categories, certain brands, certain sort of, let's say, this one start with a dropship. Let's look at the movement and then start, expanding for a scale. So dropship is a perfect model. Again, it's a myth in the mindset that who will wait for 7 days, 8 days. Even if you see India and you buy from a lot of marketplaces, a lot of times you get, even in India, within 4 days, and you don't get panic around it, right? So if your product line is not in a subscription-based category, if your products are not an impulse buy category, or if your product lines are not in a urgent need basis category, dropship works beautifully.
Got it. Okay, so then, Pritesh Kumar, he wants to thank you. He says that great insight, and he will connect with you soon. Then we have Varun. Yeah. So we have Varun. He wants to, he's saying that we sell D2C pashminas across all geographies. However, Middle East is a market which we feel has immense consumption, but with a non-Arabic and non-Indian-based website, it's difficult to penetrate. Would you suggest onboarding on Noon or other Middle East D2C websites or any other alternatives?
No, absolutely. Pashmina shawls, I gave that example also during my presentation, that it's one of the, a huge demand globally. That is a category which India has with, right? And definitely I would recommend, to sell on Noon and Amazon UAE, because these are the two marketplaces where there's a lot of, let's say, consumer out there. We can assist you in that, and we can happy to launch a brand, Pashmina shawls in this kind of market. Language is not a problem in today's world. Conversion, translation, all those are not a problem at all. So we're happy to sort of onboard, or happy to give you insight, in case you want to do directly.
Yes. So, and also for Varun, I would like to, also share about D2C Insider also actually launching a Middle East expedition somewhere between Feb 2024. So we will be taking handful of D2C brand founders who are looking to expand globally. And, if at all you are interested in being a part of it, Varun, feel free to, get in touch with us, and we can enable that journey faster for you with the kind of program that we plan to do. Okay. On that note, I think I will take one last question. The question is, I don't think India Post is reliable. Who else can help us ship internationally from India that is also reliable versus
Yeah,
an India Post?
so India Post offer both services, registered parcel, right, which is sort of semi-trackable, and a EMS service, which is fully trackable.
Hmm.
So, if you use EMS, it's fully reliable because it's 100% trackable, right? From a other carrier network, there is obviously DHL, FedEx, but the DHL, FedEx, the minimum threshold is need to, they charge minimum slat of 500 grams. So if you're selling less than 500 grams, including packaging, it can become expensive. I would recommend Shiprocket. Shiprocket sort of let's say starts with the 50 grams onwards, right? And they offer both express and non-express service. So
Hmm.
you should try a Shiprocket. It's very, very reliable. And even we use Shiprocket.
Hmm. Okay. I hope that answers for who asked that question. Maybe one more I'll take. Does Go Local work like a consultant or an agency which helps launch brands, or do you have a SaaS product which is used to launch products in international
So we have a SaaS
markets?
product which you can use to launch a product internationally, and that will be live in next 15 to 20 days. Uh, to your question number one, we are neither a sort of let's say a consultant, neither a sort of let's say a reseller. We are an enabler. We enable your brand to launch in global markets, and we give you sort of different models based on your requirement and what stage of brands you are, and what model will fit you and it's right for
Hmm.
you, and that's how we
Hmm.
sort of stitch the journey for you and take you and help you to launch in global markets.
Got it. I think they also wanted to know if there are any ballpark on the pricing of the service, if that's something that you'd like to share.
So we
I
can
mean,
get
I'm sure it would be quite,
yeah,
it would be
so,
variable depending on case to case
yeah, no,
basis.
so that's the simplest one, right? We make money is where the brand makes money. We have no upfront fees, we have no registration fees, right? All my gyan, the entire sort of let's say Go Global team service is free for you. Our only mission is to democratize cross-border trade in India, so that a brand can maximize the profit, right? And we
Hmm.
work as an extended team, and we bring the entire global selling expert to your doorstep. So that's
Yeah.
that's the way we look at our business.
Yeah, I think it is India's decade anyways. So, and Go Local is at the forefront of enabling that, for overseas market. There is a compliment rather than a question from Dr. Asha Thanki. She wants to say that attending a strategy meet today, and she's attended this today, and she's have had an amazing. She's saying that attending strategy meet today, and you have an amazing team. They solved all her queries patiently and can't wait to go live globally. Thank you so much, Naveen.
Thank you very much. And we are sort of very, very happy to onboard you. As I said, we take each and every brand as an extended team, and our mission is to maximize profit for you, so that you make money. And if you
Yeah,
make money,
and
you
there's
make
Nayan.
their money.
Awesome. Nayan Shah wants to check if they can have your coordinates. So maybe I think, not sure if you want to share that. Naveen, if at all you do, feel free to drop it in the chat here.
Sure. I'll
We
drop in
will
my
have,
email ID, but you can straight away email, no problem.
yeah. And anyways, the presentation will be shared with everybody, post the presentation, post the webinar. So there, in the final slide, there are links for you to go get connected with the Go Local team. I hope everyone here could maximize and simplify their global journey. And if there are any questions, feel free to get in touch with Naveen via the email that he shared or via the link that will be attached in the presentation. Any final words that you wanna say, Naveen?
No, I just sort of, let's say, pasted my email ID, and I'm also sort of, typing my mobile WhatsApp number. So, please ping me on WhatsApp in case, you're not sort of, let's say, very comfortable in sending email. And definitely, I'll connect with with my team, and we can, help you to take globally.
Yeah.
Last but not least is all I want to say is this is the right time for India to go global. All the macroeconomics, all the policies, all the, let's say, infrastructures are now supporting big time.
Favorable.
Likes like Amazon, Walmart itself have pledged more than $35 billion by 2027. So you're talking about only two marketplaces who says we will deliver $35 billion, right? India has already surpassed 1 trillion exports. So if you look at from that opportunity, it's not a smaller opportunity. The way the sort of, the wavelength I've seen in my 2 decades of career, the wavelength started of e-commerce, domestic e-commerce, right? And it became such a huge, then the next set of wave started as a D2C brands and innovation happening. And now you can see now, more than 5,000 D2C brands. You have a great community partner like D2C Insider, who is sort of bringing entire ecosystems and entire sort of, let's say, support, help on a single platform to accelerate this, D2C community. So that's a great sort of, let's say, opportunity for every brand to be part of the D2C Insider. And the third wave, which I'm talking about, is the going global, right? And this is the opportunity for everybody to start exploring the global opportunity, because this will be more than today we are talking about 5 trillion. This is going to be a 50 trillion in next 10 years around it. As the global synergies are happening, the world will become one platform for anybody to buy. So, it will be a borderless commerce, truly borderless commerce, and this is the right time to start a cross-border journey.
Absolutely. Thanks so much for doing this for the community, Naveen. Really, really insightful session. I'm sure that everybody made the best of their time, especially on a Friday evening. As you can see, guys, that I've shared the details of Naveen. Feel free to reach out to him in case of any queries, and do let us know later how you guys felt about the overall webinar. And yeah, thanks so much for doing this, Naveen, and I'll see you offline. I think there is maybe you wanna take something here.
Yeah.
No, I think we're good.
Great.
All right.
Thank you
Thanks
for
for your
the
time,
opportunity.
everyone.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Khushbu. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Take care.